The reason why you want to let God deliver you, set you free from these relationships, from these soul tie, from limerence, whatever it is that you're going through, is because it's so different than how relationship advice online talks about breakups and how to overcome them. See, everybody else, the world, talks about overcoming things from a place of healing, where God delivers. Because with healing, it means that there's still a scab, there's still a scar. You could heal from a surgery, you could heal from a wound, but you still see the scab and you still see the scar as a reminder. But with God, He delivers. There's no wound, there's no scar. You get a new heart, you get a new mind, you get a new flesh. You are completely made new again. And that is what I want for you, because that's what God did for me. My name is Allie, and I was in a relationship for 7 years straight. It started when I was 17/18. At that time, I thought that was the love of my life. You would think a breakup after 7 years, who breaks up after 7 years? You would think a breakup like that would completely wreck you, completely destroy your confidence, your self-esteem, your hope, just everything. And it was because of God, and only because of God, that I was instantly set free from the soul tie, from the sadness, almost overnight. Everybody has been in a relationship. You've been in a relationship, whether it was for 1 day, 2 months, or 10 years, whether it's a soul tie, limerence, a boo thing. Being tied to somebody affects you so much more than you think, and it's time for you to break free from that. So grab your popcorn and let's start this video. I'm gonna be honest, this is not easy cookie cutter cutesy advice. This is strictly for people who genuinely want to move forward in their life. They genuinely want to cut the tie, cut the cord, so that they can walk in the fullness of what God called them to be, and maybe walk into the next relationship without any baggage, without any attachments, without anything trailing behind them, and only looking forward. There are going to be people that are going to tell you you can stay friends, you can keep in contact, you can keep these memories. No. Not at this stage, not when a breakup is fresh, not when you're this vulnerable. You need to separate yourself, and you need to separate yourself entirely. So there are 3 major things that I did. The number 1 thing was I moved. Second, I fasted. And third, literally deleted every single photo, every single text message, every video, every trace. It was almost as if that part of my life did not exist. You're thinking, girl, what the hecky? What the heck? That is dramatic. But this is a dramatic situation. This is a dramatic elevation season of your life, and either you're down to do what needs to be done or you're not. You know, one of the main reasons why the relationship lasted so long was because I genuinely could not imagine not being together. When you start a relationship that young and you're together that long, the only reality you know is you two together. My brain at that time couldn't even comprehend what life would look like if I wasn't booed up with that person. I couldn't even comprehend how I would function. I remember watching videos of people who went through breakups before I had broken up, and I would think, like, there's no way these people broke up after 10 years and they're still living and breathing. What do you mean? So that was a huge reason, the fear that I wouldn't be able to function. And the best thing about God is that He deals with your fears and He delivers you from them, so that you can move through life with the confidence knowing that you will overcome something and it's not going to take you out. Most of the things we're scared of about in life, a breakup, bills, college, whatever, is because we genuinely think, what's going to happen if this doesn't work out? So when the thing goes left, it goes south. When the breakup happens and you actually survive, and not only do you survive, but you thrive, the amount of confidence, the amount of faith, the amount of trust and safety you have with God increases through the roof. Immediately after we broke up, it felt as if somebody took a knife, shoved it in my heart, twisted it around, and dragged it all the way through my intestine. It genuinely felt like my heart was aching. Immediately after the breakup, I began a new life in a new apartment in a new city, and I had new friends. There was no evidence, no memory of the individual that I was with, which gave me a place to make new memories, a fresh start, fresh soil for God to plant a new version of me. The reason why I recommend moving so much, I know it's hard, I know the economy that we're in, not everybody can just pack up and move, but it's so hard to become a new person in an old environment. It's so hard to live in the same city and walk the same streets when you've walked those streets with that person for so many years or so many months. So if you are in a position to move, moving is like the easiest and the quickest way to alchemize into a new version, because you have to become a new person. You have to learn new things, new restaurants, new ways to navigate the city, and all these things are going to rewire your brain, rewire your subconscious, and rewire how you see yourself. I'm in Atlanta in my new apartment that's like barely furnished. I remember I had an air mattress, and I was just waking up every day. Every day, the first thing that was on my mind was that person. And the heaviness on my heart was like unlike anything I have ever felt in my entire life. It truly felt like I woke up, and while I was sleeping, somebody was beating my heart. And I just remember kind of being fed up of waking up every day feeling like that. It wasn't that I wanted to be with that person, but I was just so tired of my mind and my body craving that person. That's what you call a soul tie. You know it's a soul tie when you no longer want to do it, you no longer want to be with the person, but your mind is still thinking about them. Your body is still craving this person. And that's when you know you got to cut the cord. A soul tie is not something that you just snap your finger, oh, we're done, and it breaks. A soul tie is an energetic, spiritual cord that you truly need to sever. I just remember talking to God saying, I'm your daughter, you're my father, and I know that you're not just gonna let me keep moping around in sadness, waking up every day like this. So we gotta do something, and we gotta do something that's gonna really break this off of me and set me free from this now. So I looked up online, and they were saying, okay, well, it takes a year for every year you were together. And so I was doing the math, and I was carrying the one, and based off of what Google was saying, they were telling me it would take 7+ years to really overcome this, to really get over this. And I said, I'm not spending another 7 years dealing with this. I'm not spending another 7 years moping around and missing somebody that I don't need to be with. No. I know my God, and I know that He is the author of all things. He's the author of this earth, the author of the past, present, and the future, and He can speed up time. He can speed up recovery. So what are we gonna do, God? What is our next step? That is when I decided to do a fast. So, if you're a Christian, a fast is a season of not just not eating, because we're not here to just starve ourselves for no reason. It's a season of not eating for a certain amount of time while you are praying, you are fasting, you are rebuking, you are approaching the courts of heaven to plead your case, because the Bible talks about how there are certain kinds of demons that only flee and leave you alone through prayer and fasting. This isn't about the other person, but it's about the fact, especially if you guys engaged in, you really have to sever, have to divorce this spirit, this connection, and whatever is behind the scenes keeping this door between you and that individual open. So I fasted, prayed, and I just kept declaring certain verses, which I will put those on the screen. I prayed these verses. So the reason why you want to make sure that, while you're fasting and praying, that you're praying certain verses, because the Bible doesn't lie. God's word will not return void. So when something needs to be done, when mountains need to be moved in your life, you gotta roll your shoulders back and stand on 10 toes and be like, yo, the word says this, so I need this to happen. It changes. You gotta change your prayers from, oh, please God help me, to God, you said this, so I declare this will happen. And that is when things start moving. That is when I started to feel the chains of that soul tie break off of me, because I was no longer like, oh, I just want to get over this. No, I was determined to get over this. And not only was I determined to get over over it, but I was determined to be a new person, a new version of me. A lot of the reasons why soul ties stick around, because they're sticking around attached to that old version of you. So I know this is hard, but if you're watching this video, you have what it takes to overcome this. You have what it takes. You have the confidence, you have the stamina, you have the substance, you have the endurance to overcome this. Like I said, this isn't a video for people who are just like, oh, I kind of want to get over a breakup. No, you're not going to be the person who's attached to their ex for 1 year, 2 years, 3 years. It took me, after 3 months on and off of fasting, 3 months, I vividly remember waking up. I remember waking up and hanging out with my friends. It was around New Year's, and I remember being in the club at the time, and not that I'm advocating for being in the club. Those were my old days. But at that time, I was in the club, and it was like almost as if something had clicked. I genuinely felt freed, and I just knew it was finally over. That was 3 months after a 7-year relationship. You don't hear people getting over a relationship like that in 3 months. And when I say I got over it, it wasn't just like, oh, I'm pretending. No, I genuinely felt as if God gave me a new heart. He gave me a new mind. I genuinely the Bible talks about being transformed by the renewal of your mind. I genuinely, and I know I'm saying genuinely a lot, but I genuinely couldn't even remember the relationship. It was almost as if God snapped his fingers and like a whoosh came over me, and all of the memories were gone. All of the heartache and the attraction and the yearning and the craving that I had for that person vanished. In the beginning, when we first had broken up, I remember waking up in the morning, and they were the first thing on my mind. They were the first person I was thinking about, and all I could think about was our memories. After 3 months of my praying and fasting, I couldn't even remember that. If you were to show me a photo of us together, I genuinely would think that was AI. That's how renewed my mind. All of the memories were gone, and I didn't remember that version of me. It was so strange, because I remember thinking, how were we even together? That's how much God has set me free from that relationship, from the soul tie, but also from the old version of me. That version of me, her standards were lower, her self-esteem was lower, her confidence was lower. And it's like overnight God had elevated me, raised me up. And I just became a new woman. I became a woman with higher self-esteem, higher self-worth, higher confidence, to the point where I didn't even understand how I was in that relationship for that long. It just felt like a whoosh of amnesia. The reason why you want to let God deliver you, set you free from these relationships, from these soul tie, from limerence, whatever it is that you're going through, is because it's so different than how relationship advice online talks about breakups and how to overcome them. See, everybody else, the world, talks about overcoming things from a place of healing, where God delivers. Because with healing, it means that there's still a scab, there's still a scar. You could heal from a surgery, you could heal from a wound, but you still see the scab and you still see the scar as a reminder. But with God, he delivers. There's no wound, there's no scar. You get a new heart, you get a new mind, you get a new flesh. You are completely made new again. And that is what I want for you, because that's what God did for me. I'm not moping around thinking about my ex ever. The thoughts never, this was a few years ago, but the thoughts about this person, they don't creep up in my mind anymore. I'm not in my bed crying about it or thinking about it or wishing we were together at 12 in the morning anymore. When I watch a romance movie, don't think of this person. I've been set free from it. And that is how you know, that's how you know you are totally separated from something. When it no longer wreaks havoc on your subconscious. So if you're in a space in life where you're thinking about somebody and you don't want to think about them, your heart is beating and yearning, you're craving them, that is a soul tie, and you need to take the steps today to break it. Why do you want to break a soul tie? Because there is a version of you that is called for so many things. Maybe it's called for another relationship. Maybe it's called to start a business. Maybe you're called to help other people or to do so many things. But if you are stuck thinking about him, her, you don't have the mental capacity, the space emotionally to receive all of the things and the goodness that God has for you, which is why relationship soul ties are a trick of the enemy a lot of the time, to keep you distracted, to keep your time and your mind occupied so that you can't think or hear from God to do the things that you were called to do in this season. People treat breakups like it's nothing, like it's a joke, like you don't have to clean house afterwards, but you do. And if you're watching this video, I hope that this encourages you and gives you some foundational steps to start doing what needs to be done to clean up your house, to clean up your mind, to clean up your soul, so that you can get ready for the new version of you, the version that is free, the version that doesn't feel the heaviness, the weight when you wake up, the weight of that ex, the weight of that relationship, the weight of missing them. You deserve to be set free from that. You deserve to wake up and feel the sun on your face, to feel the goodness and the joy that God has set aside for you in this morning, in this hour. You deserve to feel light and to have light yokes and easy burdens. You deserve this. And when you're able to walk with this lightness, you will be able to receive a new calling, a new relationship with God, and you'll be able to see yourself in a new way. And when you are new, then you will be able to also renew the people around you. So getting set free from these soul ties is so much more than just you. It affects everybody, and it benefits everybody that you come into contact with. And it also helps your next partner, if that is what you want, so that they can come into a relationship with you without other people coming in or other baggage coming into it also. Now, I was a little hesitant to make this video. I don't know. It was a little vulnerable, I guess, but I hope that it was able to help you and give you some direction on what you can do if you just got over a long-term relationship or any kind of relationship, girl. All of it counts. All of it deserves the same amount of attention, because it's your heart and our hearts are tender, and you want to make sure that you're taking care of it, because out of your heart everything flows. So if I was able to get over a 7-year relationship in 3 months, then God can do the same thing for you. So talk to God today. Ask him, what do you need to do to really get set free from these things that are just taking over? So if you like this video, don't forget to hit that like button so that other people who need to see this can find it. Hit the subscribe button, and I'll see you guys in my next video.